Once again, you're welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Akin Gabriel, your Chief Engineer on board the dive support vessel, and here we're going to be talking about everything sailors, seafarers, mariners, call us whatever it is, and the marine industry as a whole, with everything that is associated with the industry. All right. Thank you all once again for liking, for watching, for sharing, for subscribing. All right. Thank you so much. All right. Now, today, we're going to be talking about something very interesting. Okay. We've been, very serious the past few weeks. So, today, wherever you are, we're going to be, relaxing a little bit and talking about some of those things that you're curious about. And what am I talking about? Seafarers and women. Right, I know I caught your attention with that. Yes, a lot of you, and you see seafarers, sailors. Oh, you people love women a lot. Oh, you people love women. You are womanizers. Hey, women. Okay, you know what? It's true. All right, you didn't expect that, right? But yeah, it's true. Sailors love women. However, I'm gonna break it down to you. In our previous videos, one of them, we talked about the different categories of ships, right? And then the types of ships, and then the operations, right? So we talked about the seagoing vessels, and then we talked about the offshore industry. So majorly in the seagoing vessels, the ocean-going vessels, the main fleet, some companies, all right, they do allow their senior officers, they permit them to have a member of the family on board for a particular voyage or period. Some, not all. It depends on the company. Okay, they allow you to have a member of your family on board with proof that this person is a member of your family. So, of course, most people like to come on board with their wives, right? So you need to come with a proof to show them in the office that this person is actually your wife. And then she's allowed to come on board with you for a particular voyage and for a particular period. Those are for main fleets. Okay? Now, the same main fleets as well, sometimes they permit their crew to have a little bit of alcohol. Some, not all. Just a few of them allow it. And the alcohol is regulated. It's not, drink for all, free drink and all of, no. It's actually regulated. Okay, it's not drink as much as you like, or we are testing your drinking capacity. No. So, regulated, few amount, and all of that. Now we go to the offshore industry. The offshore industry is a total opposite of the other one. They don't allow. There is no such thing as you can bring your spouse on board to sail with you. Nope, it doesn't happen. That's one. 2, alcohol is 0. They don't tolerate alcohol at all on board any vessel in the offshore industry. So, why did I say that seafarers love women? Now, in the 18th century, 17th century, or whatever year you want to call it, all right, the seafaring of those years is totally different from what is obtainable now. All right, way back then, sailors, they don't have the technology that we have today. That's one. So there's no such thing as internet banking back then. All right, there's no such thing as internet, even not to talk of the banking side. There's no such thing as internet back then. So most times the sailors are actually being paid on board in cash. All right, way back then. Or sometimes as soon as they get to port, all right, their port master or port captain will come there and then pay the sailors. So that's one. It depends on whatever port it is that they get to. So they can have agents in those ports too who come and pay the sailors the salaries. Now, the sailors can be on board. They could have been on board, say, maybe 6 months, 9 months, because way back then they used to stay very long on board the ship. So imagine being on board for 6 months straight. You know, you don't have to spend anything on land, obviously. There's no way you can spend on land because there's no how you send your money. The money is with you right there on the ship. 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months to 6 months, sometimes 9 months, sometimes 12 months. All right, and you now have all this money with you, cash. All right, you get to the next spot. Of course, you want to blow off some steam, right? Okay, being the fact that you've been on board, you've not stepped on land for a long time, so you want to go off and blow off some steam. With all this money that you've accumulated with you, how bad now? Come on. You go on land, you go to maybe a club or a bar, whatever it is that suits you, and then because you have all this money with you, they start spending, right? They start ordering whatever it is. And of course, the women, the girls, you know, in that industry, you know, the industry I'm talking about, in that atmosphere or in that that line of work, they love money, right? So when they see someone spending money like that, they of course they're attracted to it, just like moth is, you know, to flame. You see someone spending money like that, they go and then to get their own share. You could see back then one sailor can be sitting and then you have 3-4 women, you know, with him back then. All right, I keep saying back then because those things don't happen anymore like that. The sailors back then can, you know, order as much as alcohol as they want, even take some with them on board the ship, right? But these days, it's the opposite. Okay, first things first, you have internet banking now, so your salary is being paid into your account. And then even while you're on board, you're already spending. So there's no such thing as, oh, I accumulated all my salary for 6 months or, you know. Number one, as I said in one of the previous videos, you may not even be allowed to stay on board for that long, you know, because now things are being regulated. They don't want fatigue and other things, except something, you know, happened that made you stay on board for that. There will be a very, very valid reason for that. Okay, otherwise, after a particular period, you are supposed to go home to rest. Okay, and most times, or in some cases actually, when you're home, you don't get paid. All right, some people, some companies split the pay in two, where when you are on board, you get this XYZ amount, and then when you're home, you get half of it. All right, so it's not like you have money accumulated anymore like it used to be way back then. All right, now that's one for the women, Abi. Now, alcohol also. You drink is on you. But bear in mind that when you're coming on board, there's such a thing as random drug and alcohol test. It's not like before. Do a random drug and alcohol test. You fail, you're out. It's that simple. Not to talk of bringing the woman on board with you. That's a total no. In fact, how would you even do it? How would you actually bring a woman to your cabin where you may not actually share, you may not actually have a cabin to yourself? That's one. Now, if you're a senior officer and have a cabin to yourself, how are you going to get the woman through, you know, the security, through the ABs on watch, through all the, you know, security measures on board to your cabin? Bear in mind that there's also such a thing as random cabin search. Yep, they do random cabin search these days. And if anything is out of place, we bring a passenger on board without proper approval and all of that, you're out. You and the passenger, immediately, you're out. You know, so now, seafarers, when you're on board for like 2 months, 3 months, you know, you've not actually stepped on land, and then you get to a port. Of course, you want to go out and blow off some steam, okay? Where is the nearest place to relax and all of that? You can go sit somewhere for people who like to do that. the thing about the general populace is that they've generalized it and say, oh, all seafarers are like that. But the truth of the matter is some seafarers are not like that. Some of them just want to sit on board, relax, maybe watch something, read a book, finish paperwork, because yeah, there's a whole lot of paperwork on the ship. A whole lot. Like a whole lot. People don't know about. You go out, say you want to go have some fun, but you don't have the kind of money, in bulk that they used to have way back then. So when they are doing that, they consider that there's not enough money right now, right? Like it used to be before. Then when you're having fun, drinking and whatever, you have it at the back of your mind that as you're going back on board, there could be a random drug and alcohol test. And if you fail, you're losing your job. So much so that, like in the US, all right, there's what we call TWIC, which is Transportation Workers Identification Card. Now, if you are caught driving under the influence, that will be taken away from you. There is no apology. It will be withdrawn from you, and without that, you cannot walk. So now this is not just on the ship now. If you are driving on land, of course, driving a car, a vehicle, under the influence, and you are caught, that is going to be withdrawn from you, and automatically what that means is you've lost your job. It's not that you've lost your job in a particular company, you go look for it in another company. No, your identification card has been withdrawn from you. It could be for a particular period of time, but you know that for that period, no work. So these days, the seafarers are way more responsible than our forefathers in the industry. They're far more responsible. The laxity or the tolerance or the acceptability of all this debauchery of way back no longer applies anymore. Especially in the offshore industry, they are serious people. They don't joke with these things. And all of this came up after series of accidents have been happening in the past. All right, you see, as you go, you party, you spend money, you have women, you drink, you smoke and all of that, and then you come to your duty post and something goes wrong, people die, or maybe equipment worth millions of dollars gets damaged. All right, companies get sued and so on and so forth. So the IMO and the MLC, whatever it is, all the governing bodies started bringing in stringent rules to curb these things, most especially because of the accidents that happen. Now, nothing might happen to the seafarer, but it could be the woman that is coming on board that something might happen to. She can fall overboard, and because she hasn't undergone any training that you must have spent maybe 10 years, doing all those safety trainings, this person doesn't know it, he comes on board and something happens, and that's the end. All right. So you, of course, who she's coming to see, your license is already gone. And the company that allowed that to happen also, they have questions to answer. So because of all these things, they have now made the rules a lot more stringent to curb things like this from happening. The seafarers love women. Of course they do. I'm not going to sit here and say the seafarers don't love women. Nah. And the reason is because of that isolation that everybody experienced during the COVID pandemic. When you're locked up in your house for months, you were itching to go outside. True or false? And when you go outside, you want to say hi to almost anybody you are seeing. True or false? So that is it. Seafarers, when they are also isolated on board and they are seeing the same sets of faces for months, the opportunity they get to step off, they will go and blow off some steam and say hi to this person, say hi to that person, and if you're lucky, you have plenty money with you, you want to spend, and as you are spending, the opposite is coming to you. All right. However, it doesn't mean that you get to be irresponsible. So the difference is the seafarers of the 18th, 17th, 16th century had a bit of irresponsibility in that regard. Okay? Respect to them. But in that regard, there was a bit of irresponsibility. But these days, the orientation for seafarers is responsibility, responsibility, responsibility. There's even a course called personal safety and social responsibility that you have to undergo every 5 years. All right, if you want to be a seafarer. So imagine you having to go through all of this and then still live a life of debauchery. So that's a personal thing now. All right. So I hope I've been able to convince you and not confuse you that seafarers love women, but they are more responsible these days, and they do not live a life of debauchery as you all assume. So when next time you see a seafarer, don't taunt and tease him and say or her, oh, you will love women, oh, you will love this. It's all a different game entirely now. It's all a different industry. It's a noble profession. It is highly respected, and it is being run by very, very, very responsible people. Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Until next time, bon voyage.